Coming to paperback and e-readers, Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer. Take a trip into the macabre world of goth modeling in the new millennium in this all-new Spinsterella story. Pre-order your copy of Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer at Amazon.com and other online booksellers everywhere. In a previous video, I talked about why a living together situation between a man and a woman never really works out. And in this video, I wanted to explain why you, as a man, don't want to live with any woman outside of your wife. Now, when it comes down to a lot of men out here, they want to buy into the whole idea of living together with a woman, but that whole living together situation always ends in a disaster, and it ends in a disaster because that man is not in a place where he can go out here and take the lead over his own residence and have control over his own residence and his own place to stay. Now, when it comes down to a man should always want to have his own place and have his own place so that he can go out here and be the one who is responsible for that residence, because the way he handles that residence shows how he handles business in life. Now, when it comes to the Word of God basically states that the man is supposed to be the head and the leader of God's order, and in order for a man to be that leader and that head of God's order, he has to be a responsible steward over himself before he brings in a wife to be his helpmeet. That's what a man has to do, and that's what men were expected to do before the age of the sexual revolution and feminism came along and basically confused the roles of men and women. No, before then, when it came down to men, a man had to go out here and go out and find his own job. Two, had to go out here and find his own place and establish his own place. And three, had to establish his fiscal responsibility in order to be considered a man worthy of marriage. Now, when it came down to men in those times, again, a man had to work towards establishing himself, and as he established himself, he showed himself to be a responsible steward, and part of him showing himself to be a responsible steward was after he got his job and started to stack a little bread. This is where he went to start working on getting his own place, usually an apartment, and as he got that apartment in his own name, he started to put together his budget, and as he put together his budget to pay his rent, to pay his electric bill, to pay for his food, and then also put some money away for savings for a rainy day or a down payment on a home. This is how he showed how he could be fiscally responsible for taking care of himself. And as he took care of himself, this is how he showed how he could take care of his own business. And him being able to take care of his own business, this is what made that man attractive to a lot of women, because if they saw that that man could take care of his own business, they knew that he could take care of them, and that's what made those women want to be his wife, because they saw that this man was taking the lead over his own life. And as this man was taking the lead in his own life, establishing a structure and order as related to taking care of his needs, he could possibly go out here and look to take care of her needs if she decided to submit to become a part of his program. And that's how many marriages came together before the age of the sexual revolution and feminism came along. And when the sexual revolution and feminism came along, that's where we got this whole concept of living together. And the whole concept of living together was all about women coming into a man's space without being his wife. And that was something that many of the men on the lower rungs of the social ladder thought was beneficial, but it was never a beneficial situation for any man to be in, because at the end of the day, a man really does want to have his own spot. He wants to have everything in his name, because if a man doesn't have everything in his name, this can complicate things and create a complete nightmare situation for that man if things start to fall apart as related to any relationship he has with a woman. And one of the worst things a guy can do is move a woman into his place, because if he moves a woman into his place, basically what this woman is going to do is, because she's not a wife and does not have any sort of commitment to that man, is basically create a situation that can cause chaos for that man. And that chaos for that man can basically lead to him basically losing everything, especially in a living together situation. Because in a living together situation, if that relationship starts to deteriorate, he basically is stuck with that woman and stuck in a situation where either until one of them moves out of that residence, and that could be the thing that basically messes up that man's whole ability to go out here and take care of his own business. Now, a lot of guys will think, okay, I'm in love with my girlfriend, I'll move her into my apartment, or I'll move her into my house. However, that's the worst thing a guy could do, is move an unmarried woman into his home, move a woman into his home who's not his wife, because what happens in those situations is that sometimes these women start thinking about, again, options as related to that relationship. And what happens in those situations is that that whole situation can be bad for a dude, really bad for a dude, because you've got a woman inside of your house, and as she's inside of your house, she's got a place to stay, and got that place to stay, and may be thinking about staying there and inviting other men into your house. And basically, if you find out about that, that can lead to a situation where you just really can't get that woman out of your house, and could lead to you possibly winding up in a jam if this woman decides to call 911. Now, if this woman calls 911 after a beef or an argument, basically this dude is up crap creek, because when it comes down to the police, they're going to take her word over yours. Moreover, since her name is also on the lease, there's no way for her to leave, because they're going to side with her, and basically you're the one out of the house that you basically put all your money on, and all of the stuff that you put in that house basically is basically gone at that point. And that's why you really don't want to be living with no woman, because she can go out here and again get into an argument over the toilet seat or some drawers on the floor, and after she gets into that argument over the toilet seat or drawers on the floor, she can call up 911 and have you taken out of your apartment that you are paying for. And even worse, if she can go out here and make an allegation, you're basically sitting in the jail and winding up losing your job, losing your money, losing your personal and professional reputation. And that's not a situation you want to put yourself in as related to anything, because as a man, you want to be in a place where you can again make sure that your business is taken care of, and not have your entire whole operation upended because some female is upset over the fact that they ran out of Swiss International coffees at the supermarket, or she mad about the toilet seat being left up, or some other mess. I mean, this is not a place where you want to be, because when you get your own place, you want to be able to have it where you can make sure that your business is taken care of, and have it where your business is taken care of as related to making sure that you continue to get paid as related to your work. You're continuing to make sure that your bills are paid as related to your basic expenditures, like your gas, your electric, your water, and all of those bills, and your cable. And you also want to make sure that you don't wind up in a situation where this woman gets you jammed up or locked up because she's in her feelings, and then you got to go and look to try to find a way to pay for bail, or you got to find a way to pay for some lawyers as related to some case of whatever she's got going on. No, you want to make sure that you have your own spot, and that everything is going in a way that's allowing you to take care of yourself And that's why I say, you don't want to be living with no woman, and you don't want to be living with no woman because, again, if she's got her name on the lease or she's got her name in your business affairs and she's not your wife, then you're basically in a place where your entire financial situation could be completely upended because you were in love, but sadly, because you didn't love yourself enough, you didn't look out for your best interest, and now all your ways of making a living wind up completely being made a mess of, and that's why you don't want to be living with a woman and you want to have your own space. And you also, in these cases, again, don't want to be living with no woman because, again, when a woman is living with you, what happens is she starts to see, in 3 to 5 years in some cases, she sees that you're not really making a commitment to her by marrying her. And since you're not making a commitment, this is where she starts to look outside of the relationship. And as she's living with you, she starts looking at other guys in some cases. And as she's looking at other guys in some cases and checking for other guys, she bringing them back to your house and in a passive aggressive way is expressing her contempt for you for not marrying her by bringing this dude back into your house. And as she brings this dude back into your house and is smashing him behind your back, eventually you're going to run into a situation where you run into this dude and you're possibly going to wind up getting in your feelings, getting into it with this dude. And again, as you get into it with this dude, she's calling 911 and they're taking you out of your house in handcuffs, and she's still getting smashed and getting her back blown out by this dude. Meanwhile, you're sitting inside of a jail cell when you can't go to work, you can't make your money, and you're sitting in this cell with Bubba, Tiny, Roscoe, Big Dave, Melvin, and Mr. Sprinkles, and they're thinking about trading you for commissary while she's going out here out with another dude. That's the kind of situation you can wind up in if you go out here and again live with a woman. And you can also wind up in a situation where you're living with that woman, where she decides, after she gets you locked up, to lock you out of your spot, again, because her name is on the lease and yours is on it again, and you're locked up. They can then again take your property away as related to the place where you're renting. And in some cases, some of these chicks will even try to take your house from you. I mean, this is why you don't want to be living with no woman. You want to have your own spot, and you want to have your own spot with everything in just your name. You want to have your spot with everything in just your name, because if this female gets her name on your spot, she's basically, again, in a place where she can take everything from you. So this is why you don't want to be in no place, again, living with no woman, and you don't want her in your place until she decides to say yes to your marriage proposal. And that's the only time a man is supposed to bring a woman into his home, is when he is the one who proposes marriage. And when he proposes the marriage, this is her looking to, again, marry you on your terms. And while it may be not optimal, again, as related things, because you could have conflicts here and there, but you still, again, are seen as the leader. You're still seen as the head. You are still in the one who basically is the owner of everything as related to your home. And again, this is what you want as a man. You don't want to be living with no woman, because, again, it turns into a disaster. And again, it turns into a disaster because neither partner is equally committed to living in that home together. And again, as they have that option to leave that relationship at any time, again, this is where a lot of females start to think about those options. And as they think about those options, again, this becomes a completely tangled mess where a guy can get himself really jammed up as related to that whole living together situation, where again, it usually doesn't really end well. It usually doesn't end well when you've got to deal with the possibility of this woman who can just basically call 911 at any time and have you taken out of your home, or she can go out here, bring another dude in your house and want to go out here and watch you argue and fight with another dude, again, putting your health, safety, freedom, and even your life in jeopardy. So A lot of guys, they think, oh, I'll live with my girlfriend. We'll eventually get married. No, don't do that at all. No, as a man, if you want respect, the first thing you do is go out here after you get your job and save your money up, is get your own place. And as you get your own place, you pay your bills, pay them all on time. And then as you're paying your bills on time, you're building up your reputation. And eventually, while you're doing that, you're building up your savings as related to your money. I mean, a lot of guys, you may not have much money at the end of the day, but at least you got something in your pocket. And again, everything is yours and yours outright. And that's what you want as a man, is to make sure that you have yours. And as you have yours, you want to be in a place where you can protect and take care of what is yours. You don't want to be in a place where this female can go out here and have that option of leaving, and again, leaving you high and dry, because again, as long as that option is on the table, and women being naturally hypergamous, what they will do is look to monkey branch to another man, and possibly look to do that at your expense by having some dude coming in on the side, and you're the one, again, with having to deal with this because her name is on the lease as related to things, and you definitely don't want her name on your deed. You don't want her name if you're buying a house on your deed, because if her name is on your deed, basically, again, she can take your house right out from under you. I mean, this is not a good situation for you as a man at all. No, you don't want to be living with no woman, because that's basically, again, women will not respect you if she's living with you. No, if you want respect from women, the only way you bring them in your home is if you're married. Now, you can have them in your house to visit now and again, but don't have them staying in your place and nesting in your place without being completely committed and submitted to you, because what will happen is, because you have basically shown that you are not setting boundaries and taking the lead, is that this woman will, what she will do is look to take more of your space, and again, look to nest in your space. And as she nests in your space, she will express contempt for you. So you don't want to be living with no woman outside of your wife. No, you don't want no woman in your spot outside of your wife. You can have a girlfriend visit now and again, but they can't be staying in your house. No, can't have them staying in your house, because again, as a man, you want to have your own space. You want to have your own space where you are the one who, again, is in charge of that space. You are the one, again, taking the lead over your own life. This is what a man wants to do if he wants to go out here and be on the road to being a husband, because if he cannot take care of himself, he cannot go out here and take care of you. And this is what many women really want to see from a man, is a man taking that type of leadership role, taking that role as a head, taking that role of that steward, being responsible for himself and having his own space, and never going out here and letting a woman stay with you, because again, living together situations always end in disaster. They always end in disaster and become a mess that has to be untangled either by small claims court, or if you have kids with this woman, family court, or in some cases, you basically don't get anything out of the deal. If you wind up in a situation where they calling up 911, you basically, in some cases, wind up in a place where you're in jail for 6 months, and then you find out, oh, she's taking all your stuff, or you're in arrearages with the landlord. I mean, it's never a good situation to be in. No, you want to make sure that, again, you have your own place as a man. You want to have your own place as a man, and you never want to live with a woman. No, you don't want to live with a woman. If she's out here, she can go live with her in her own spot, or live with her parents, preferably if she lives with her own parents, because then she can forsake mother and father and cleave to you in marriage. You want to be in a place where the woman is living in her own space outside of you, but you never want to live with a woman, because a live together situation is not one that's going to benefit you at the end of the day. And you don't want to be in a live together situation, because a live together situation is one that's going to deteriorate, because again, neither partner has any commitment to the other. And as a man, you want to be in a place where you can be the leader and have your own thing ready to go. And if things fall apart, you have a place where you are secure. That's what you want as a man, is to have your own spot, because when you have your own spot, you ain't got to worry about nobody coming to start nothing with you and tell you where you need to go. You have your own thing going, and that's what a man wants to be in a place where he's single. You want to have your own place. Now, I know a lot of guys, they have a hard time being able to do this because of the job market, but if you can go out here and do it, if you can go out here and do that, make sure you have your own spot, and never let a woman live in your spot unless she wants to be your wife. Now, if you want to pick up some of my men's issues books, you can find those books like Stop Simping, Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance, Stop Simping in the Workplace, Stop Simping in Cyberspace, The Man Crisis and the Woman Crisis, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, and The Woman Crisis. You'll find all those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to see me make more videos talking about relationships and men and women in general, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl. The aspiring angel takes on a wicked teenage witch in this action-packed, all-new Esteemed series adventure. Pick up your copy of Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA, from the Black Boule, in this all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.